Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our extreme video kudos and makeover. Well, today we're looking at some pretty superstar, rock star video gurus. One you probably all have heard of is Marie Forleo, and the other is Carrie Green. And what I thought would be fun would be to go back and look at some of their very first videos. Now, I'm not sure that the earliest videos on their YouTube channels are actually the very first ones because, we have the power to take our videos down. But they are early, and what I love about them is they just show how they pre-shadow actually the business development kind of business model of both, and they also are a great example of just kind of getting started and going for it. Both of them, the first videos are about 7 years ago, so that's kind of interesting as well. Okay. In the process of doing this too, we'll talk a little bit about just, their YouTube channel and some of the characteristics of that as well. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And one annoying thing about Zoom that I haven't figured out yet is apparently when I play a video in my browser, there's no sound for you, or you don't see it play. There's no sound. I think it's that there's no sound. And so we won't be critiquing any sound or any, playing the videos and watching them together. But I did some screenshots just kind of point some things out, because these extreme makeovers are really more about the visuals. I mean, it could be about sound, but it's more about the visuals than it is about their actual content. A real, kind of getting into content analysis. This is more about like, how do we improve the look and feel of our videos? Okay, screen share. I just share get ready, my messy desktop, because I'm going to be hopping around to different windows here. So you can now see this is the what's called the thumbnail, as you are aware of, kind of the beginning of a video or beginning of a presentation. It's kind of the intro slide. Let's go to YouTube, and let's start with Marie. And here is her channel. Or here is she has over 500,000 subscribers, which is pretty awesome for her. And if you click on this, it takes you to her homepage. Now she's got a intro video that starts playing immediately. That's a setting that you can create a video like this, and then there's a setting that you can have it start to autoplay. And what I like to do sometimes when I'm analyzing YouTube channels is, of course, you look at subscriber count and their cover art, and this should all match your branding that is for your business. Of course, it's on your website. It should all start to, so when somebody's in the world of your content, it all kind of flows visually together. She's been Marie TV for several years now, so she really took the talk show host model and ran with it, and as a result she's been featured on some major talk shows in the non-virtual space, in Oprah's world, for example. And she also, because of this number over here, this reach that she has, she can get just about anybody on her YouTube video show, which is pretty cool. Now, just looking at this, you might say, who wouldn't want to be Marie, right? If you're aspiring as a coach or a consultant. And she's super awesome at being Marie and what she does. One of the things that you might want to consider as you're building out your brand is, and I feel this way about Oprah too, although Oprah's probably one of my favorite icons or people to follow. Anybody like that, Marie, Oprah, Tony Robbins, or even people who are not quite as famous at the top of their space, but maybe in your space, the gurus, they're going to have a really hard time transitioning this brand. If they ever decide they want to do something else, it's going to be challenging. And if they ever want to sell their brand, it's going to be really challenging, because they are their brand. And there's a book out there called Built to Sell, and I encourage you just to check it out and go through it. If this is a question in your mind, if you know for sure that you want to be the Marie of your space, you want to be the Oprah of your space, you want to be known as you being the face of your brand 100%, then it's not necessarily. But if you're thinking ahead, someday you may want to change directions, or you may want to sell your brand, then you might consider not doing such a heavy job of linking your face and your name actually to all of your content. Now you can still use your name, and we'll look at how Carrie Green does this differently too, because she's a great kind of example of somebody doing it differently. Okay, enough about that. Here is, so what I usually do is when I'm at the homepage, because I'm interested in their video kind of count and viewers. So for the purpose of today's kind of fun thing, we're going to go to date added oldest. You can resort all of her videos by the first one according to this. Now, I guess I don't actually believe this was her very first video. It might have been, but it has a couple touches in it that make me think she was doing a few and producing a few all at once by this time. Now, having said that, she's in her living room on her sofa. She doesn't have her big, nice studio yet. But she had kind of a performance background, which is helpful. And she's got, this awesome extroverted personality on camera. I don't know if in person she's extrovert, but on camera, she's got great energy. And so bringing back the fun apparently was her first video. And let's go over to this. So this is a screenshot from that video. Because again, if I play it through for you, it's basically just her sitting on the couch anyway. And I don't think you hear the sound. So let's just kind of look at this. You can see in this, oops. Let's see. So you can see in this, if you've been following any of my content around how to frame up your shot. So although for her audience, this works really well. For my audience, I'm not a huge fan of sitting cross-legged on the couch. Once again, it resonates with her audience. It's been part of her brand from the beginning, being very relatable, very casual, but super like on her content, So depending on your audience, you have to think about that. I just talked to a financial planner. I was on a podcast with him actually 2 days ago, and he was asking me about, he'd seen a video on LinkedIn of, an attorney or someone, I think it was an attorney, was doing a video like walking his dog in the park. And he just felt like there was some dissonance around that. And I guess I have to agree that we want to be, we want to be thinking about how is our audience perceiving us, and also what's the level of our brand in general. Are we like health and fitness, super casual brand? Then this might be, something that you might want to think about. If your audience is more business oriented, or they are coaching other people in their businesses, then perhaps you want to think about keeping it a little bit more, quote, business-like, but not stuffy, right? Okay, so nobody could ever accuse Maria of being stuffy, that's for sure. So I would say in this one, depending on your audience, you might not want to be on the couch in your tank top, although it works for her once again. And also just the lighting in this is a little challenging. She's got probably, a light over on this side, of course, but she has really obviously gorgeous dark eyes. And I don't know why this keeps switching. Okay, so that's one thing that you might want to think about when you're framing yourself. Her eye line is also a little bit high in this. And the pillows are, probably, they're, fine. They add a touch of color as well. So that's one. Let's go to the next one. Now, one thing she did in this video, and if you go watch it, and again, this is the very first one on her whole video list on her, what she did in this is she's answering questions, which is a great idea, from other people. And she did a screenshot that kind of fades in of the actual question as she's talking, and it gives you a picture of a face. Great idea. Not that anyone's going to sit there and read all this, because she's actually reading it to you, but it interrupts just us watching her read, right? And it also shows, gives you the visual cue that, yes, this was a real person who sent her a note. So that's a great idea, something to kind of put in your video. Okay, here she is in another setting. This is the third or fourth video, I think. This is cute. And once again, cross-legged, once again, if that works for your audience, great. I don't like it, but that's not my audience. My audience is not Marie's necessarily. Well, least not today. Perhaps her audience today might be a little more, well, it's just so broad. She's kind of like the Oprah of YouTube. So it's hard to pin down exactly, like in a very narrow way, who she's targeting right now, because she covers, health, spirituality, business, lifestyle. She's like Oprah of YouTube. But back in this time, again, she was talking to probably millennial women, and the plants are cute. And you see how she's put herself kind of off center a little bit. That works pretty well too. I might have moved the chair up away from the wall a little and over to cover the radiator. But it tells you she's in her cool apartment in New York City. She's scrappy. She's doing it for herself. So really, I mean, all these things I'm talking about are just kind of nitpicky and just things to think about, because she's always done a great job with her videos. Again, she's a little high in this though. Her eye line's a little bit high, but the framing in general is great. There's nothing that you go, I don't like that at all about it. Okay, so this is funny. That's something that she's always done. It's awesome. She's always injected humor into her videos. And this is one thing that's made her super popular and famous, is just people, they didn't know what to expect next. So she had started this, in the bed series. I don't know if she really went forward with it, but it was a funny idea. And there she is, like in her jammies, and she does the interview with somebody in bed. She's like Saturday Night Live, So if you have a crazy streak within you that fits, that fits within your content, then I would say, try it and go for it and see what the response is. Because people, really do enjoy it when you are authentically showing your different side. Okay. Now this was an interesting one too. I saw just the thumbnail on there, and I thought, oh, I don't like it when people have videos in their kitchen and they're not doing cooking videos. I just think that's a dissonance, and usually the kitchen is the most cluttered part of your house, except the bathroom. And so I generally really don't like it. But what was great about it is I went ahead and I clicked through. I thought, she knows that. Why is she in her kitchen? So I clicked through, and she does like a wrap. She's like, I'm here in my kitchen, and that's cool because we're cooking up biz nuggets. And she starts doing this biz nugget wrap, and I thought, that's so Marie. Who else would do that? Well, she did. And it made the kitchen sort of make sense at that moment, but the topic of the video had nothing to do with cooking or it had to do with business. So she didn't do a lot more videos in her kitchen, but I thought that was kind of cute. Okay, slide 7. Next. There it is. Here she is in another setting that actually I'd seen a few years ago. And I don't know if this is true, but I'm wondering actually if these videos aren't a little bit earlier than the ones that are posted as being the first ones. Just a guess, but I don't know if she re-released things later but at any rate, this is a great example. I want to show this. It's like big kudos of she is using kind of a flat wall, but in a very creative way. From our materials, I'm not a big fan of like shooting your videos up against a flat wall because I don't want anybody looking like a mugshot, correct? And it's very hard to avoid that when you shoot up against a flat wall. So what she's done is put herself kind of off to the side, so the lines of the brick, the lines of the brick kind of form some visual interest in the background. And then she had interviewed, I apologize, my mouse is super sensitive and it wants to forward. So she had, over the Crazy Sexy Diet, the book up there on the right hand side, she had interviewed that woman in another video. So probably they're doing some sort of cool promotion, which is very cool. So she has that in the frame. The purple shoes that I probably have a meaning to her and her listeners, but definitely, we associate her with fashion, and the spiritual stuff down below. And then she's always got, her laptop, which kind of anchors her as an expert, and now it's her iPad. She's always referencing her iPad. So she's got, and what I think is interesting about that also for you guys is you can use a prop if you use it well. So she uses that. I'm not even sure how much she actually cues from it because she's such a pro by the time she gets in front of the camera. But it anchors her as an expert, and maybe it does kind of give her, a bit of a reference point while she's doing her videos. I think she's reading the question that she's answering or whatever. So you can use it, but use it sparingly. If you're using it too much as a crutch and you're sitting there like this in your videos reading instead of looking at the camera like she does most of the time, then you have to rethink it. But I really liked this one because anybody could pull this off. It's very inexpensive. She's got some lighting, new lighting. You can tell she's got some studio lighting going because the light in her eyes is brighter, and just in general, and there's more of a shadow behind her. So you can see that she has a stronger light in front of her than she used to, especially the ones on when she's sitting on her couch. Okay. She's sitting up in a chair. She's not cross-legged. I really like this one a lot. The only tiny thing is she's a little bit too far over to one side. I would have put fewer doodads out and put her more towards the center of the frame. But again, nitpicking, just little things like that. So this one was great. Okay, I think we're going to move on to Carrie Green. Let's go to her YouTube channel. Now, Carrie Green, if you don't know who she is, she's the founder of the Female Entrepreneur Association. And this is what is interesting to me about her, is she built a brand that was not based on her name. Now, she is the face of that business, the Female Entrepreneur Association. She's definitely the face of it. You don't see anybody else doing she doesn't have a big partner. She does tons of interviews and collaborations. So yes, she is the face of this business, but it's the Female Entrepreneur Association. And it would be much easier, and I don't know for sure, but she's starting to transition into doing more things under her name on Instagram, for example, and then also on this YouTube channel to create a personal brand, but it's separate, connected to, but separate from the Female Entrepreneur Association, so that if someday she ever wants to sell what is becoming a very lucrative platform for her, it'll be much easier for her to do that, to transition that with her followers, and then she can go on and be Carrie Green phase 2, phase 3, whatever Carrie Green wants to do. I really like this. It's a little harder work because you're pushing, a brand, and you have to, and that's a little bit different process than just being Marie TV, but this may give her more flexibility in the future as she builds out her empire. So, by the way, there is another online guru. His name is Neil Patel, Patel, and he actually talks about this in a blog post about how he wished that he had not named his business Neil Patel. He wished he had named it something else because he would have sold that by now and gone on to other things. But it's harder for buyers and investors to get interested when he's saying, I want to sell my business, but everybody associated with me and my name. That's a very hard transition to make. Okay, Neil Patel, you could Google that one and read more about that. Her channel is looking really pretty, which is kind of part of her brand, is very feminine, and but the content is always like rock solid. Now she's got 34,000 viewers, much less, or 34,000 subscribers, much less than Marie, but she didn't leverage YouTube in the same way as Marie did, just like from the get-go. She leveraged video to build the FEA quite a bit, but as far as putting emphasis on the video on the YouTube channel, she had not started that until relatively recently. Let's go to her videos list. And you can see, I didn't do this one with Marie's, but we'll just do it here. So if you go from, these are sorted by the newest to oldest. So you can kind of see her look right now. And let's go to oldest to newest, sort by oldest. And what I love about her is I think she actually has left the very first one, because I started following her about 3 years ago when she launched her first membership group. And she, and this was the first video that I saw, like that she had put on a few years before, because I was curious about what she was doing. And so this video is 7 years ago. That was 3 years ago. So it would have been, a 4-year-old video at that time. At any rate, I think that she's left them on there. And let me show you how she's, her look has evolved. And this is also, she started to put thumbnails in, with thumbnails that are, you know, consistent and more branded and getting easier to read. But still, you can see how she's working out what her brand really is. And she has a post where she talks about how she knew what she wanted her brand to look like, but she was afraid to do it because people had told her that nobody would, you know, follow somebody that had a lot of pink in their branding. And so finally she said that, well, sorry, that's who I am. And you can see here, she starts to put more softer colors in. But she's still working it out. And she is a true entrepreneur. She didn't start out like businessy business, but she has created businesses. And just what I mean by being a true entrepreneur, she tries things and she tests them and she sees what to see what's work. And she's also always been doing things that highlight other people. So you can see kind of a hot mess all along here. I mean that in the best way possible because mine looks the same way, my old YouTube channel. And then you can see she starts to get a little bit more sophisticated, probably starts working with a designer. And also her website was evolving at the same time. And now we're starting to see more of the pink and gold, and that's kind of what she's settled on now. Okay. So she also did a vlog when she was getting married, which was incredible for, you know, nurturing her audience, just kind of sharing that personal side of herself. And she's just been a master at all of that. But so we're here to talk just a little bit about her very first videos. And so let's go to the slideshow. So this is a screenshot from her very first video where she went to, and she talks about this in one of her other videos, she went to a women's entrepreneur gathering and she just grabbed some women and asked them questions. And she said, I'm, you know, putting this video together. And then she put together a series of interviews of these different women, very short Q&As. You can see this is only 4 minutes long. But this is, if you're doing this, what you want to do is get the light in front of your person's, you want to get it in front of their face. So here she's got a lot of light behind this lady. I know she's in a setting that, you know, it looks like a banquet bar area or something. Very difficult to control the light in these settings. There are small portable little LED lights you can use now if you wanted to get, you know, a little bit fancier about it. But the main thing would be to move this woman, you know, like getting some light in front of her face. Go to, oh, okay. No, that's it. All right, so let me see here. I'm going to pause for just 1 second. Okay, just pause for a second to fix something. I'm going to share my screen again. There we go. So here we are, we're back at, this is, again, one of Carrie Green's very first videos. It is the first one on her YouTube channel. And let's just look really quickly at the next one. So this is from the same kind of short video, another person that she interviews. And as you can tell, once again, this is a really difficult scenario to try to be doing video. I've been there before, and if you're going to try to do video of other people kind of on the run like this, you may want to see if you can pull them out into a lobby that's better lit, or just try to find some better lighting. But at any rate, she just went for it, which is the idea. And also this one actually is framed pretty well, you know, which is good. There's good headroom here, and you know, the lines of the lighting in the background kind of do frame the face. So, you know, it's not absolutely 100% bad. There are some good points about it. It's just the lighting was a little tricky, and also, of course, the sound. But, you know, she was working with what she had, which is great. So here's the next one. This is funny. This is her experimenting. So this is basically just a sound interview. The whole video of about 12 minutes, you just look at this right there, at this image, because it's just a sound recording of interviewing this individual. It's also, though, a good way of showing, she's making connections with this person, founder of Best Way Holdings, who I'm assuming is a pretty high-powered businessman. And so she's making connection, at least with him, has an interview on her YouTube channel, gives her an opportunity to put that in her SEO and in her information. So probably, we look at it and we go, well, that's like not a video, it's just an audio interview, but it's a good idea anyway, especially depending upon who you're talking with. You're not going to get a ton of views on this, but you might get some search engine bump from it. And then you also get to make the connection with Sir Anwar Parvez. Awesome. All right, this is the last one, the screenshot from Carrie's that we'll talk about. This is another, again, the other thing I think is interesting about her that you all may be feeling like is she is hiding from being on camera for the first several videos that she puts on her YouTube channel. She's hiding from being on camera. And this is another example. She put together an inspirational slideshow of women that, power of self-belief. It's, got music, it's fun, it's well done, but we never see Carrie. Complete opposite of Marie Forleo, where we see Marie from day one and all the time. And so let's go back to Carrie's YouTube channel and kind of show you what that looks like. Let's see. Here we go. So this first few views or first few videos here where we haven't seen her, still don't see her here. This is, I know you don't have any sound, probably. So finally we're seeing Carrie's profile on the thumbnail, but we don't see her. So here's one where she's doing the interview, and obviously we would see her there. But it shows kind of how she finally decided, okay, I've got to get out in front of the camera. That's where the power of this is. And then, of course, I probably got some coaching around it. She's, and started to do a really great job with her videos because she was just always really authentic and always herself. The only thing that I might, if I had been coaching her early on, I haven't watched any of her videos lately, but she tended to ramble on. She was nervous on camera, as we all are. And the fix for that is just take a deep breath before we push the on button and try to slow down a little bit, practice a little bit, and don't kind of, ramble on too much. Okay, so those are some quick and dirty extreme makeovers. I wouldn't, obviously, you can't mess with the formula of either one of these ladies. And it had to do, especially with Marie Forleo, the videos were a huge piece of it. And now video is a huge part of Carrie Green's business plan going forward. So I encourage you to check out both of their YouTube channels. And also there's awesome information there for entrepreneurs and women who are building businesses. If you have any questions around starting a YouTube channel, kind of how to get started and the basic building blocks with that, I can help you with that. And I can also just help you start being seen a little bit more. And that's why, I'm doing this video. It's right before Christmas. I'm continuing to try to be visible because in 2019, as I referenced a couple days ago in another short presentation that I did about how to kind of build some resiliency into our business should we experience an economic downturn, a big piece of that is just going to be not hiding, not freezing. And if you have been hiding a little bit, this coming year is the year to step out and be really visible. And visible means video if you're doing a lot of marketing online, or if your audience is online, which more and more, most of us, that's where our audience is. All right. Thanks so much. And please subscribe and be in touch if you have any questions. I'm here for you. Bye.